Hello and welcome to Piano Shack with me, Woody. Just the other day I had a bit of a brainwave how we could fix the problem with software synthesizers. Let me pitch my idea to you. There's no doubt in my mind that software synthesizers sound equally good or even better than their hardware counterparts. Plus, they're cheaper, they don't take up any space, they're more convenient, and you can load as many of them as you want. But there is, of course, a major drawback, and I'm talking about the interaction with the control panel. Reaching out a hand, turning a knob, clicking a button, or adjusting a fader. That's immensely rewarding, quick, and fun to do on a hardware synth. But in software, it's not as good. You need to move your mouse cursor over the control you want to adjust, click a button on the mouse, and then drag it up and down to change the value. And I suppose it's equally tedious, time-consuming, and tiring to do that on a touchpad as well. But I've got an idea how we can fix this, and it's something that I've never seen before. Now, of course, today we do have workarounds for this problem. Many MIDI controller keyboards and specialist devices have lots of knobs, sliders, faders, buttons that you can map up to the corresponding controls on your software synthesizer, and that's fine. But for me anyway, it rarely works very well. Each manufacturer has their different method for doing MIDI learn. Each controller keyboard is different. Sometimes it seems to me that when you relaunch an instance of the software plugin, it's forgotten all of the parameters that you've assigned. And even if it does remember them, the chances are I'm going to forget them because I've got a generic MIDI controller which doesn't have labels for any of the knobs. And after a few days, I've forgotten what I actually mapped them up to. So for me, this whole assignment stuff doesn't really work. So here's how I usually use software synthesizers. If they support this feature, it's pretty nice. You just move the mouse cursor over the control that you want to adjust, and then you just roll the scroll wheel on your mouse to adjust the parameter. And that gives you more of a feel of adjusting a physical knob. And that's what gave me the idea for the hover knob. So what we need is one device with one single super high quality, great feeling knob, perhaps something like a Moog filter knob that you can adjust. And let's also put a fader on the same device. So one fader, one knob, so we can handle both those types of controls in the software. I did a sketch, or I will do a sketch of my design, which I'll show you in a second. Something like this then, a nice little low profile unit, maybe slanting sides like that. And then we'd have one huge knob. Yes, I know there is potential for jokes here. One huge knob, and let's also add a fader while we're at it. This device will send out MIDI CC values as you turn the knob or adjust the fader. But here's the trick. All you need to do in the software is move your mouse cursor over the control that you want to adjust. Then you turn the physical knob, just the one knob. If you want to change another parameter, you move the cursor over that control in the software synth and then adjust the same knob. Let me give you a demonstration. The way that everybody is used to adjusting parameters on a soft synth is to move your mouse over the control, click, and then drag up and down, sometimes side to side. In the old days, you actually had to do a circular motion, but normally click, drag up and down. What I'm proposing then is that you just hover the mouse over a control and then adjust the value using a knob. Hover, adjust, hover, adjust, hover, adjust. So we could call this feature hover control. Perhaps as soon as you hover over a parameter, it's automatically assigned to the knob that you've chosen in the settings. So basically that solves the clicking and dragging issue, which is really tedious, tiresome, and might even lead to repetitive strain injury if you're a sound designer yourself. And again, it's really quick as well. It's a bit like hardware. You move your hand and then turn a knob, move your hand and then turn a knob. So no more effort, and just as intuitive and satisfying, I think, as working with a real hardware synth. Imagine in the near future then, when we all have touch screens as well. It's even easier. You just touch the control you want to adjust, turn the knob, touch, turn, touch, turn, touch, turn. You get the idea. This is going to be awesome. Buttons, toggle switches in the software interface, that's no problem either. You can just use the fader, drag it up and down, and it will step through all of the positions on the synth. Now, I hear people saying that one of the nice things about hardware synths is that you can control multiple parameters at the same time. Now, that's something that perhaps applies for a Eurorack system where you have a sequencer running and you can use both hands to put in the patch cables, turn the knobs and so on. But for players that are actually using the keyboard to perform, I think you're pretty much always using just one, well, you're playing with one hand, using the other hand to adjust one control at the time. So my one knob hover invention would work perfect for that anyway. Come to think of it, we already have the hardware to support this feature. This keyboard, for example, will send MIDI CC values as I rotate a knob. So this is just a feature that the software vendors need to implement. We can call it something like control on hover. All they need to do is support controlling a parameter when you just hover the mouse over it in the GUI. Personally then, I think this is a fantastic idea, and I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. Perhaps I've overlooked something, or you can think of ways to even enhance this idea. So that's all I had for you today. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time. Cheerio.